Greetings, everyone. My name is June Allen. Greetings, wherever you are joining me on the planet. I'm a therapist and I'm here just to give you some encouragement this evening. Normally, I bring out a lot of content, stuff about therapy and all that sort of stuff, but today I'm just going to give you some encouragement. Because sometimes that's just what we need. Sometimes I don't want to, you don't always need to be taught something. It's not always about tips and all of that kind of stuff. So sometimes you just need somebody to tell you that everything's going to be okay. So today, I wanted to just give you some encouragement about igniting your inner goddess, remembering who you are and all of that kind of stuff. But before I get into that, I just wanted to give you a little bit of housekeeping. So at the moment, I am doing a series of sessions on financial therapy. Okay, with everything going on in the world at the moment, with the people hearing about the cost of living crisis, there's a global recession, all that sort of stuff. It's stressful. It's bringing up a lot of stuff. Hi Rose, thanks for joining. It's bringing up a lot of stuff for people. Okay, so I thought it would be a really good idea. Obviously, we chose the book that we're going to be studying in the session already, which is this one, The Black Woman Millionaire. And what I'm also doing, in addition to reading the book to kind of guide the conversations, is including all of the stuff around financial therapy. Now, what financial therapy is, it's exploring the link between how you behave, your money behaviors, okay, and how, how your family behaved around money, how you behave around money, and how living under the system of racism, living inside an oppressive structure, how that impacts how you behave around money. So financial therapy is about unpacking all of that stuff, doing your money shadow work, okay, creating money dates so you can sit there and be supported as well around doing the practical things that you don't like to do around money, okay? So that's what I call financial therapy. So the classes are on Thursdays, okay? They're on Thursdays from 8 p.m. London time. So if you're interested in joining us for the money therapy, financial therapy study circle, you can click the link in my bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net, okay? Oh, the other thing that I forgot to tell you as well is that I have a Black History Month offer on at the moment, okay, in the financial therapy circle. And so if you purchase before the end of Black History Month, you get 2 months for £97, okay? So it's a no-brainer. Yeah. If you click the link in my bio and go to my website, there's loads of more information, and I break down, what it's about and all of that kind of stuff. You find a lot more information there. All right, so now let's get into the tea. I just want to encourage you today. And just to remind you, okay, of who you are. So the first thing that I want to say is, igniting your inner goddess means remembering that the black woman gave life to civilization. Okay, the black woman gave life to civilization. Okay, so I think it was Malcolm X that said that the most unprotected person on the planet is the black woman. Okay, and I think people easily forget that it was actually the black woman that gave life to civilization. So when you're feeling down, or you feel like you're not worth anything, or you feel like you can't do this and you can't, just remember that it was the black woman, okay, that gave life to civilization. We gave life to civilization. Okay, so I want you to remember that. Think about that for a minute. Think about that power that we have. The black woman's womb gave birth to civilization. That is a powerful thing. And I think sometimes when we sort of trying to get by and dealing with all of these things that we have to deal with on a daily basis, whether you're parenting or in a difficult relationship or having to deal with dodgy people at work or whatever it is, we can forget who we are as black women. We forget that that our wombs have power. Okay, and I want you to remember that today. The black womb has power. Okay, your black womb has power. And you can use your womb to manifest. Okay, but you have to be connected to it. You have to be emotionally connected to it. You have to be willing to understand and unpack and listen to what's going on inside your womb. A lot of us have got You know, we've got wounded wounds because of our relationship with our mothers, our relationship with you know, old relationships that have been abusive. Whatever it is, our wounds carry so much. And with all of that stuff that we've got from our past and our history and all of that, you know, we carry all of that, and it's difficult to remember our magnificence. It's difficult to remember our greatness with all of that. So I just want to encourage you this evening to remember that your black womb has power, and that black women gave birth to civilization. And just because you've gone through all of the pain and stuff that you have in your life, it doesn't mean that your power is gone. Your power is still there. Okay, your power is still there. The power is within you. Okay, everything that you need is already within you. It's just that you need a space, you need time, you need patience, you need grace to be able to unpack what you need to unpack so that you can reconnect and rediscover your power. Your power is not external. You know, as a therapist, I can't give people back their power in that sense. I just assist people and hold space for them to rediscover their own power, to rediscover their own greatness. I don't tell them what to do. I show them where to look. Okay? I don't tell my clients what to do. I show them where to look. Because the power is within you. That greatness is within you. And it's not vanished. We all have it. We all have it. But it's so easy to forget because of the pain and the struggle that we carry, and the things that we're trying to do every day. We're just trying to get through and survive. We're in survival mode. We can't access our power because we're just trying to get through the day. But the power is there. The power is within you. You've just got to be willing to slow down. Take a breath. Take a minute. Give yourself a moment to breathe in and out. And just remember who you are. Just remember who you are. Your power is not external. Your power is within you. And the last thing that I want to share with you is that you don't have to do this stuff alone. You're not alone. You are not alone. I don't know how many times I've heard women talk about how difficult they find even asking for help. You know, I think a lot of us have internalized this stereotype about black women having to be strong and black women having to be independent, and I don't need anybody and I can do this all by myself. It's a load of rubbish. It's a load of shit. We tell ourselves that quite often because we've been hurt by others. Okay, we tell ourselves that because often we've been hurt by others, and so it becomes a defense mechanism. Okay, there was a quote in this book actually, where she talks about this. She says, "The survival strategy of being independent was born when someone you loved betrayed you. You decided never to trust others again and became masterful at not needing anyone's help." She then goes on to say, for those, you know, for people, if you're an entrepreneur, your inability to delegate keeps your business growing at a snail's pace, and you're exhausted. Yes, your survival strategy of doing things yourself kept you from being hurt and betrayed, but it has also kept your $1 million future at bay, and it's lonely. Okay, so just think about that for a minute. Think about, this is about really thinking about your history, thinking about what happened to you growing up, think about what happened in your relationships, that you find it so difficult to let somebody else in to help you, to let somebody else in to nurture you, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whether it's friendship, whatever it is. A lot of us, because of that wound, there's a receiving wound. You know, I'm going to do a separate live stream on the receiving wound because it's a huge topic. But a lot of us have got a receiving wound, and we find it so difficult that we feel like we have to do everything by ourselves. And so we think that we're going through all this stuff that we're feeling, all the stuff that we're going through, the struggles that we're trying to deal with. We think that it's only us that are dealing with it. And one of the reasons that why I love facilitating groups, my own group, is, you know, quite often people will start to identify. They'll start to identify with other people in the group. They'll start to understand what's happening because somebody else is sharing what's happened to them. This is one of the reasons why, you know, I mean, I've been in recovery. I mean, I don't know if anybody, if you don't know, I mean, I've shared quite openly about this, but my part of my journey, I was in recovery. Well, not was, I still am. But I started on my recovery journey back in 2009. I went to my first meeting in 2009. And one of the reasons why I absolutely loved being in recovery was going to meetings and hearing other people share stuff. And I was like, oh my God, that is exactly how I feel. And it took me a long time to speak up in those meetings. There weren't a lot of black people in meetings in them days. You know, when I was going to a lot of meetings, there certainly wasn't. If there were black people around or people of colour, they certainly weren't talking about race like how I talk about it. But just hearing somebody else or other people share their stories, the courage and the bravery in just allowing themselves to be vulnerable in front of loads of people that they don't know, just blew my mind. And this is one of the reasons why I decided to start talking about my own journey and sharing my own journey, because, you know, people, there's not enough of us. There's not enough of us that are sharing our stories so that other people can start to do this work. And that's why I'm really passionate about it. You know, there is this whole big question mark around therapists sharing their own story and how therapists need to be a blank canvas and all the rest of it. But I know from my experience that this is one of the reasons why people have chosen to come and work with me, because they understand that I know what I'm talking about. And that I'm not just speaking from a place of being a professional therapist. I'm also speaking from a position of, like, I understand because I've been through a lot of stuff. The stuff that, well, I'm a black woman. I'm a black woman living under the system of racism. You know, grew up in a family that had a lot of pain, had a lot of trauma. Parents come from Jamaica. Jamaica having 240 years of chattel slavery. You know, I'm doing my work. I started my work back in 2009 and I continue to do my work. And I continue to do, part of me doing that work is continuing to share my story on these live streams so that other people that are listening can really, can not feel alone. That they're not the only person. They're not the only one. So I can combine my lived experience as well as my professional therapeutic knowledge. I combine the two to deliver something to you that you're going to really be able to understand, that you'll get it. That I'm no different to you. I'm no different to you. I'm here to deliver the message. I'm here to deliver the message that you're not on your own and you don't have to do this alone. So many black women have been doing this work on their own, just reading self-help books or whatever, and just feeling frustrated and isolated because they feel like nobody really gets them. And this is one of the reasons why I set this thing up in the first place as well, because I heard so many stories from black women that were going into white spaces and their stories were not being told. People did not understand what it meant to be a black woman, still living under the system of racism and patriarchy and sexism and, you know, all the other stuff that comes with being a black woman. That their stories were not being told. Their stories, their experiences as black women were being missed out. And so that's the reason why I do what I do. That's the reason that I love doing what I do, because I see how much it's needed in the community. And when I start to see my sisters growing, I start to see my sisters finding themselves, understanding what's going on for them, starting to love themselves, starting to set boundaries, starting to appreciate what's going on, the light bulbs are going off, and they start being gentle with themselves. It's such a beautiful thing to witness, and I'm still humbled by it. I'm still humbled by it. You know, I've been doing this a long time. And it still humbles me when I see black women doing this work and really getting it and really allowing themselves to be vulnerable and growing and changing and becoming their best selves. You know, and this work is not easy. This work is not easy. It's hard work. And it takes guts. You know, it takes guts for people to do this work, because you got to dig deep. You got to dig deep, and the more you do this work, the more you can see other people's bullshit. And sometimes that is really hard, because then you have to decide, well, you know, how am I going to set boundaries with this person? Am I going to sort of detach? Am I going to not really hang out with them? You know, doing this work is hard. But the benefits of it is that you get to stand in your own integrity. You get to stand in your black feminine power. For many of the women, it's for the first time in their lives that they're accessing their own power, and that is just such an amazing thing to see, you know. So Rose is saying, thank you for sharing your life. It really helped me on my own journey. Oh, Rose, yeah, I there's so much I could say about that, you know, but it's been amazing just seeing how you grew as well, you know, and you know, I share from the heart. I share from the heart. You know, I don't just want to be picking up textbooks and sharing all the therapeutic stuff all the time. Okay, that stuff is helpful and it helps give insight, but I know the power of story. I understand the power of story. I understand how important it is to have somebody that looks like you just giving you the real talk. You know, and I know I don't always say that. I don't always talk about the fluffy stuff. I'm not one of these coaches that just talks about let's be positive all the time. I'm not that person. I will give you the real talk. You know, I will give you the real talk. I will have those hard conversations that we need to have as black women, you know. But in doing so, it just means that you get the opportunity to stand in your own power. In me asking you difficult questions, you then get to stand in your own integrity and ask yourself those difficult questions that you need to ask. And then, you know, then you get more choice. You're no longer in denial. You're no longer in denial. You know, igniting your inner goddess is not just about, you know, looking good and, you know, dressing well and all of that kind of, and talking about all of the fluffy stuff that's about being a goddess. Being a goddess and standing in your power also means having difficult conversations. It means setting boundaries with people that you don't want to set boundaries with. It means getting vulnerable and doing the vulnerable work. You know, when you think about a caterpillar, okay, using a caterpillar as an example, that caterpillar is in that cocoon, mushed up, and just think about what a transformation that caterpillar has to go through in order to become a butterfly. Okay, there's too many of us that want to get we caterpillars, and we think that just getting to the caterpillar means just changing our outfit. And it don't work like that. You're just a caterpillar with a coat on, with a different coat on. It don't work like that. You have to be willing to go through the difficult things, have the difficult conversations with yourself first and foremost. Because if you ain't having the difficult conversation with yourself, it's not gonna happen out externally. The first place that most people tell the truth, you have to be willing to tell the truth to yourself first. Otherwise, you're not going to stay and do the work. You will not stay and do the work if you're not having that honest conversation with yourself first and foremost. It's not going to work otherwise. But oh my gosh, when you do, you become unstoppable. When you start to have that conversation with yourself and the internal stuff starts happening, you become unstoppable. You start to have the conversations with yourself, and you start to understand what your values are, and what comes with the values is changed behavior. Because when you understand what your values are, you can't be the same. When you understand what your triggers are and where your trauma comes from, and all, you know, you can't be the same. You can't take it back. You can't take it back. That's another great thing about doing this work, because you can't unlearn something, you can't unhear something. You have to move forward. You know, your relationship with your healing process then becomes very different, and you can't go back and do the shit that you were doing before. You can't go back and do the same stuff that you were doing before, because you've changed, you've learned something different, you've evolved, and things can't be the same again. So I just really wanted to encourage you this evening just to remember that you are a goddess. Okay? Another thing that Dr. Venus always says, she always says that black women are God wrapped in flesh. You are God wrapped in flesh. You are a cup of God. God is not external. It's not in the clouds. He's not a white man. Okay? God, spirit, goddess, however you identify, you are part of that energy. You are part of that energy. And you deserve everything good. You deserve everything good. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be cherished. You deserve to be honored. But first, you have to learn how to treat yourself that way before you can communicate to the rest of the world how you demand to be treated. It has to come first from within. You know, it really does. I'm going to wrap up the session now. That's it, because I've got a client in 5 minutes, so I'm going to have to go and prep for that. But I just wanted to leave you with one last thing. I bought these really lovely cards today. How to love yourself cards. I thought might be quite nice for me and my daughter to do them in the morning. So I'm just going to shuffle them, and then I'm going to pick one to read to you. Thank you so much, everyone who's joining today. If you did want to join us for the financial therapy sessions on Thursday, 8 p.m. London time, click the link in the bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. Right, so I'm going to pick one of these cards. Oh, wow. I'm going to pick the one on the top. Okay. So, I don't know if I'm going to... That's the one I picked. Okay, I don't know if that's back to front or whatever, but I'll read it. So it says, I choose a bright future now. And on the back it says, the moment I start to change, the moment I am willing to bring good into my life, the universe responds in kind. Okay? The moment I start to change, the moment I am willing to bring good into my life, the universe responds in kind. Remember who you are, black woman. You are a goddess. And don't let anyone else tell you any different. Alright? Take care, and I will see you next time. Alright? Have a good evening. Bye now.